I know you can see the light, but I need it there because, yeah, I do. We're trying something new. Before we get into the actual painting process of this video, because yes, this will be a paint and chat with me video, I decided to do a slightly different format. So back in August or September, I had started a completely different video. So basically I did this makeup look, although I slightly changed it today just because I needed to for reasons, because it was not looking good. I filmed that whole thing. I did a little miniature photo shoot with myself to get some reference photos, picked one that I liked, and I created a painting out of it. It was really fun. So that's the painting you're gonna be seeing in this video, is based on this photo of myself. When I filmed the actual makeup part of the video, I did not have my microphone on, and like my audio is already not fantastic. The audio was really bad and I couldn't stand it. So I pretty much scrapped that whole part of the video, and I thought, okay, well instead, for the paint and chat with me, I will do the normal painting process video, but instead of just doing a voiceover, why don't I recreate the makeup look and talk to you guys, and then just have it in a little mini box down at the bottom corner while the painting is going on. So you can watch me paint, you can watch me do my makeup, and I chat with you guys. I don't know if you can hear that, but Jacob just bust out laughing. He has his headphones on, and he's... Whenever I did originally film myself doing this makeup for the original videos that I was gonna do, I talked all about how before I created art, before I was doing photography, I got really into makeup. So basically when I was in 6th grade, I was so convinced that I was gonna go on the path of cosmetics, and that I was gonna have my own makeup brand, and I had already started planning out my like company name, and I had this plan of going to college for chemistry and then going and getting my master's in cosmetic chemistry, and I was gonna work in a chemistry lab for my makeup brand. I had this whole plan, and then that led me into photography, which led me into art. So I had talked about all of that in that video, but because that video didn't work out, I went ahead and I actually talked about all of that in my most recent paint and chat with me video, which will be either on this side or this side. I don't know which side it pops up on, so I'm just gonna point to both, but it'll pop up right here. I said all that to explain this is why I am doing my makeup in this video for you guys, and why I did my makeup for a reference photo, because it's kind of taking something that used to be a really big part of my life and that I really thought was gonna be like the path that I took through adulthood and everything. I'm kind of taking that and tying it into my art, just because it's like, this is a big part of me. This is a big part of something that I really enjoy and that I used to be like known for in middle school and high school. So thought I would whip it back out and do it for you guys. I'm gonna take this and I'm gonna put me down here or wherever I fit best, and let's start painting and talking. Paint and chat. Let's start painting. If any of y'all play Switch, what are your favorite games? So we have Mario Party and Mario Kart, and that's fun, but I don't know, I want to have like more options, because we're about to get into that season where we play the Switch a lot. We pretty much don't play with our Switch like in the spring or summertime. It's pretty much like a wintertime thing, because that's when you're stuck indoors because it's too cold. But yeah, we just have like the typical Mario stuff. But I also have the game, get ready for this one, Diablo 2. But you weren't expecting that. So I don't know if any of you guys are even like familiar with that game, but I love that game, the second one. I've never played the third or fourth one, and I don't plan to, because compared to the second one, they look like garbage. But I want something that Jacob and I can play together, and like couch co-op, and that game does not have that option. So, and he saw me playing it the other day and he was like, can we both play this at the same time? And I thought we could. I thought we could split screen it, and then I looked into it and we can't. If y'all have any games that are kind of like that, if you're familiar with that type of game, if you're familiar with Diablo, if there are any that are similar to that one that is couch co-op, let me know, because I'm looking and everything looks too animated, like too super colorful and like round and weird. I don't know how to describe it. It just doesn't look like how I, want it to look. But maybe I just need to stop being so picky. So like I said in the very beginning, I did actually talk about how whenever I had filmed this video initially, I did talk about how before I started doing art, before I was even doing photography, I was really into makeup, and I really was convinced for years and years and years that I was going to be a makeup artist, and then I was gonna go to school for cosmetic chemistry. I even had like a college in mind that's... Can y'all stop? I even had a college in mind that specifically had cosmetic chemistry. Although it was in Albuquerque, and like, knowing me, I can't even be like 30 minutes away from my family, so I don't think that was gonna work out. But somebody had been commenting on my videos, and I went and I looked at her channel, and she actually was a makeup artist for years, and she's now making art. And it was so cool because it was like, yes, it's like what I was talking about, how, they kind of like go together really well, and makeup is like a creative thing. Her account is called Creative Solutions to Art, and I'm gonna link her down below or something. But yeah, so I thought that was so cool. I was like, yes, see, that exactly, like makeup, art, just like creativity in general. You can go in a totally different direction with your creativity, and somehow it'll kind of pair well with this other totally opposite direction of creativity. And she was diagnosed with progressive blindness when she was 10, and it's like, it's just gradually affecting her eyesight more and more. But she still makes art, and I just think that's really cool. That's very inspiring, and you really should go check her out, because it's like, she's not letting it stop her, and I just think that's so cool. All right, so on to today's topic. Fun fact about me is I, for as long as I can remember, have been terrified of aging. And it's not necessarily that it's like, I don't want to like get wrinkles and blah blah blah, because no, I kind of see wrinkles as like, especially like if I have smile lines, then I smiled a lot, I laughed a lot. That's something that I want to kind of showcase. It's not a cosmetic thing, it's more so because it seems like the world kind of tries to paint a picture of once you reach a certain age, you become irrelevant, and opportunities really start dropping away because you're not young and youthful and glowing and all these things. And so I've always kind of, ever since I can remember, even whenever I was a kid, every year that went by, even in elementary school, it would be like, oh my gosh, another year has gone by and I'm not famous, So I've always, in some way or another, been very aware of time passing. And I just always feel like there's something big that I should be doing, but I don't know what it is. I just know I'm not doing it, and it's freaking me out, I think an idea that social media really seems to create is that if you didn't get in at the right time, you missed it and you won't get another chance. And that's not the case, It's just, especially because things like Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, just anything in that realm, it feels like now that it's been out for so long, it's so oversaturated, you know? So it's impossible to be seen unless you're lucky enough to get in at the beginning or just as it's gaining traction. You know, and if you're like me, you know, if something isn't super duper popular and everybody's talking about it and using it, I'm probably not trying it out because I'm not thinking much of it because nobody's really talking about it. So I never get into any of this stuff when it's first like gaining traction and getting really popular. And so, but then sometimes it makes me feel like, oh, because I'm not one of the like original creators, I got in too late. And now it's so oversaturated, no one's gonna see me. It's not the case. And if it were, it would pretty much mean that like everything out there has already peaked because it is already oversaturated. Everything that is currently popular has already gotten past the point of just starting to gain traction and having its original creators. But, you know, just like 20 years ago, Instagram wasn't even a thing. So there's always gonna be these big new things to jump on. And it is kind of hard to imagine like, okay, we have Instagram, we have YouTube, we have Twitter, we have TikTok. What else is there gonna be? But you just never know. You never know. There's always gonna be something new. There's always gonna be something bigger and better that everybody left MySpace to go to Facebook. And then people kind of were like, Facebook, I want Instagram, you know? And so there's always gonna be the next one, the next big thing that everybody jumps on. And yes, I will say it does feel like everything in the creative industry, the entertainment industry, in the content creating industry, it does feel oversaturated, and in a way it is. But you know, there's a lot of people in this world, so what do you expect, you know? But here's the thing, everything is always changing. Everybody always kind of collectively starts to want something different or wants something else. You know, used to it was everybody loved these long form videos on YouTube. Now everybody wants something in 7 seconds. Humor is constantly changing. Look back at Vine compilations. There are things that when Vine was popular, I remember thinking that was the funniest thing I had ever seen. And then I see it in a compilation. We were watching some a couple weeks ago and I thought, I can't believe I used to think that was so funny, and like it's just not my sense of humor anymore. So even humor collectively as well as individually changes.
You're gonna put this on your nightstand and you're gonna eat 2 of them. Not now, but when you want to go to bed. 2 servings.
Say hi.
I will. Oh, what up?
We're constantly evolving. So, you know, honestly, you might jump on the bandwagon and not really go anywhere for the first few months. And then the tides change and suddenly you're the it thing. You're the popular one. You're the one doing the thing that everybody wants to see. Suddenly everybody's interested in what you do and the things that you have to say, you know? It does not matter how old you are. It doesn't matter if you just created an Instagram account an hour ago. You're never ever too late to go after your calling. That sounded really cheesy, but it is the truth. It is the truth. It's never ever ever too late. Unless you never go after it, and then I don't know. And honestly, there's always gonna be a need for what you have to offer. What do people do in a big business, in a corporate job, in the corporate world, when somebody retires or quits? They refill that position. So there's always gonna be space for you to fill. Just promise me and promise yourself that when you do fill that space or position, that you will just be your true, authentic you. You will be totally yourself instead of trying to be something that you think other people want you to be. People just want you to be you. Because like everybody always says, and yet we still have a hard time believing it, there's no one else like you. So don't try to be somebody else. thing number 2, what should I even be calling these? Realization, I'll say that. Realization number 2, be intentional. I should do my other eye and at least make my eyes even before I talk like this to you, because I just look weird. Now, honestly, this is something that unless you're experiencing this right now or you've recently realized this, me telling you to be intentional, it really might not resonate with you. And I get that because there are so many things that, like, I remember the day that I finally realized what everybody meant when they said the grass is greener on the other side of the fence. Because for so long I would hear that and I would get what they were saying, but it wasn't until I really experienced and like lived that feeling, and then it really like hit me like, oh, this is that. So telling you to be intentional with everything, it really might not mean much to you right now. So just keep what I'm about to say in the back of your mind, because one day you might be in a rut and then you'll whip out this memory of me saying this and realize that's why you've been in a rut. Because you haven't been intentional. And you'll be like, oh yeah, Leslie said that one time. I should go back and watch that video again. Think of it like making your bed. Or like just any kind of like mundane chore, like daily chore that you feel like you have to do. Usually we go into it with the we go into making the bed with the mindset of, I have to make my bed. What if you went into it with the mindset of, I'm going to make my bed because it always makes me feel better for the rest of the day, or anytime I walk into this room, or even whenever it's time to go to bed at night, it's nice having a cleaned up bed for me to get into. It's just more relaxing. You know, so if you go into it with that mindset rather than the mindset of like, I have to do this, it totally changes everything. And it takes practice, and you're not always gonna feel up to being like, I have to be intentional all the time. You're not gonna feel like doing that all the time. But if you just practice that and at least you're aware of, well, I have the option to be a little more intentional about this, you just kind of, everything around you really changes and shifts, and you just see everything in a completely different way. If you go into it making your bed like, I'm going to do this for me to feel better, then you're making your bed with intention. And that's how it should be when it comes to your work. I go through phases where I've been making a lot of art, I've been posting a bunch on social media, then I slowly start to go into autopilot. Which sounds like a good thing, but eventually it's like kind of my downfall. Autopilot, not in a good way. Because once I'm in autopilot, my artwork, it starts to go downhill. The quality of the content I'm making massively downgrades. I kind of go into quantity over quality, and I'm just trying to crank things out, make deadlines, make a quota, or whatever you want to call it. Like clockwork, this goes on for a few weeks before suddenly I burn out. And it'll always seem like I hit burnout out of nowhere and I can't figure out why I'm suddenly feeling this way. I can't figure out why I'm uninspired and why I'm kind of like bleh about like everything, until I come out of it and I realize I haven't been working with intention. I haven't been fully, completely present while working. I have so much fallout because I didn't feel like putting powder under my eyes. And now I'm facing the consequences. Remember when these were so like, everybody had to have this? Remember when the kabuki brush was like such a big deal? Oh my gosh. I remember being in 6th grade and like the only brand that seemed to have a kabuki brush was MAC, and obviously a 6th grader, I can't afford that. And finally, Milani came out with a kabuki brush, and I got it from a Brookshire's grocery store, and it was the best day of my life. Another fun fact, if you didn't know this about me, I love crows, and my dream pet is a crow. Well, Ricky and Rhodey are my dream pets, but I would really love to also own a crow. But it is illegal in, I think, in the United States, so. Alright. Anyway. So it did take me a while to realize this, but I have come to discover how important it is for me to be really present and just completely submerged in my artwork that I'm currently making. And it's also important for me to do a lot of planning and prep work. So when it comes to posting on social media, personally, I need to have my content planned out visually and like on my to-do list at least a few weeks out. Yeah, like I need to know a few weeks out what I'm gonna be posting and like plan out the look of my feed and everything, because it's the only way I can get anything done or anything posted. I start off planning out my social media with the visuals. An app that I really love to use, and this is not sponsored, I discovered this years ago and then I started using it again, and it has made everything so much better. It's called Preview, and I'm literally able to go in, put pictures into the app. It looks exactly like an Instagram feed, but you can click and drag where the posts will go. And you can even, if you want to, but I don't do it this way, I think you can even, maybe with like the subscription option, you can go ahead and write out like what you want your post to say and the hashtags you're gonna use. And I think you can post from Preview into Instagram, but I don't do that. I just go ahead and I plan out the visual aspect of this is what my feed will look like. And I can like click and drag the images, and that's how I plan out what I'm gonna be posting on what days, because I know the order of everything. And that has helped me be way more consistent with posting, and it's really helped me to post more quality content. I'm more intentional about what I'm posting. I'm more intentional about what my content looks like, because I want it all on my main page to look like it just all flows really nicely together. Maybe that sounds like a lot, but to me it's like it's the easiest way to plan out my stuff. Cause if I don't have things planned out, I really just start making things last minute, and I basically just throw something random together just so I can post something, and then that's what always leads to my downfall on social media, and I give it up for a while. So do your work with intention. Go through your day, your to-do list, your tasks with intention. Whether it's mundane stuff or fun stuff, do it intentionally. So if you actually catch yourself going into autopilot, do something different. Do something out of your normal routine. Do something that gets you out of like robot mode and back into a more creative space that you feel like has more purpose. I was joking. I did sneeze, but that last part was a joke. I don't sneeze. I'm gonna fix up this eye, then finish this eye, and once all of this is done, I will come back and I will tell you my third and final realization. Wish me luck. Ta-da! Here we go. There it is. Nothing a little glitter can't fix. And it is glitter that is safe for the eyes because it's much softer, much more compact or whatever. Unless you have sensitive eyes, and then maybe don't, but. Can you even tell just how sparkly it is? Oh, because I'm looking at the mirror behind this camera and I'm like, dang. Anyway, my third and final realization, which I realized this a few days ago. Here's the thing. I'm gonna say something very obvious, but then I've got some points to make. Something that I think has been one of the biggest downfalls for creating art or anything creative in our current times is social media. I will give it credit though. Social media has given art a pretty big platform. Minus all the times the algorithm has truly tried to bury anything creative and unique, which is happening a lot lately. But if you're like me and you have watched hours of videos and read countless articles with the title, How to Gain Followers on Instagram, I have literally typed, why does Instagram hate me, while tears are running down my face. That is not a joke. You've probably heard the tip, be consistent. Be consistent, pick your niche and stick to it. And I'm here to say no, not in all cases. I'm not saying like this is a terrible tip. It can be really helpful and it can be great for some people. But I think everybody tries too hard to take that and like really take it to heart. And I think it's doing more damage than good to a lot of creative people out there. Something I've noticed lately is that art has been put into a realm that it does not and it never has belonged in. And that realm is called logic. We're so focused on what gets more likes, more views, more followers, more interactions. And we're so focused on those numbers, which I get it. I understand why, I get why, but we're so focused on those rather than our creativity that we're starting to put art into a spreadsheet and we're making art be data driven. So instead of letting our art flow and making things that we want to make and letting it flow the way it was meant to, we're creating what we think the algorithm wants. We're creating what we think will get the best numbers. And again, this may totally work at the beginning, but I can tell you from my own experience, the numbers do not last long. And no matter what tips you hear in a video, read in an article on how to build your audience on social media, it will never last because the algorithm will always change. It will continue to change. So every time that you suddenly like start doing those things that you're getting stuff seen and your content's getting pushed out there and you're getting all these followers and all these likes and all these views and interactions, and as soon as you finally figure that out, the algorithm is gonna come in, sweep you on up and be like, nope, we're changing this. That doesn't work anymore. And suddenly your followers start to decline, your interactions start to decline, and you're back to square one. What will outlast any algorithm change whatsoever, it's gonna sound cheesy, and I bet a lot of you won't believe me because anytime I heard anybody say this, I didn't believe them. I wanted somebody to give me a tangible, step-by-step, these are the exact things that you need to do. Anytime somebody says what I'm about to say, I'd always be like, psh, click, away, exit. But it's the truth, and I know this from experience. Also, I'm well aware I am a small channel. I am a very small channel compared to many other channels. And I'm fine with that because I like the gradual build. I like that I'm getting the opportunity to, every time I gain another follower, I'm like given some time to, okay, now I have this many followers. This is how much work and how much effort it takes to hold that responsibility. I don't want to just suddenly blow up and then I don't have the skills to hold all of that responsibility. The slow build helps me to be able to figure out, okay, I'm getting seen a little more and a little more each time. It's giving me some time to like take that in and like work on building a strong foundation around that so that I have a grasp on how to be responsible with more and more followers as I go. So I know I'm giving you tips as a small channel, but this is also kind of something you can just follow in life in general. It's not even just about getting followers. The one thing that will always outlive and outlast any kind of algorithm change is you being you. And only you. Uniquely you. And again, I get it. That sounds stupid. And that's not like a super direct, exact tip on how to do things. But it's something that in life, once you figure out who you really are and you start letting yourself be completely you in every single scenario and not trying to be somebody else, everything in your life is gonna change. Whether it is work or whether it is outside of work. Just your life in general. I promise you, if you were just you, you were gonna become so much happier. It's gonna be hard at first. I know from experience. When we are talking about, you know, art and growing your followers or whatever, this will look like creating art that you want to create. Not what you think other people want you to make or what the algorithm would like best. Because honestly, and again, this is gonna sound stupid, but once you like feel it or you experience it, you'll get it. If you're making art that makes that like pit in your stomach flutter out of like pure excitement and like, I'm having so much fun creating this, this has been in my head, I'm loving how this is going, and like, I'm finally getting to see my vision like in physical form, I can promise it will outlast any kind of art trend or what the algorithm wants from you. Because when you create something that means something to you and that comes from like a real passion of yours, you can tell. People can tell. Everyone can tell. There's just something about it. If you took a piece of art that you made because you thought about it at, 2 o'clock in the morning and you were like, oh my gosh, I'm dying to draw that or I'm dying to paint that. That would be so cool. I really want to make this. This is something that I feel really strongly about. Next is something that you created just because you thought, well, the algorithm will like it or it's trending right now, or I think that people want to see this from me. Everybody can see the difference between the two. Something else you might hear a lot is picking a niche and sticking to it. Now the niche thing, I don't know. I don't know if I have one. I have no desire to try to figure out what my niche would even be, because I just don't feel like it. I just don't want to. When it comes to your style, which you'll hear a lot of tips say, once you find your style, stick to it, or like stick to a specific style, stick to a specific genre, stick to a specific look. Don't. Experiment. Please experiment. Spearmint gun. Try it all. Don't feel like you have to stick to one style for others to enjoy your art or to gain followers or whatever. The followers that, again, will outlast all other followers and the ones that will be there for your entire career are the ones that are following you first and your art second. I feel like when people know the person behind the art and they like the person behind the art, then they kind of just automatically enjoy at least something about the art that the person is making. Like if they like you, you could paint a circle and they'd be like, nice, because they like you. They're invested in you. So it doesn't matter if one piece you make is a really colorful portrait and then the next piece that you make is a black and white architecture drawing. Stop putting yourself in a box. If one of your posts gets a ton of likes, it doesn't mean you're only ever allowed to create art that looks like that from here on out. People like variation, people like change, just like we talked about earlier. People change, people like change, people like to see different things, and I don't know, change is good now and then. So there's no need to hold back from exploring all the other things you want to do or try just because it isn't your usual style. Bringing the light closer. We keep having to adjust because as the day goes by, the lighting is changing. Your style is you. Like, you will always kind of include those elements that I guess are considered your style without you even realizing it. Because you have that technique that you like to do. You have those colors you prefer to use in everything. You have that thing that you always like to incorporate. And you'll kind of just do it naturally without even realizing you're doing it. And then when you look at all of your pieces, because it has those little tiny things that you just automatically do, they all have your style, regardless of if it's a colorful portrait, a black and white landscape, photography, and then, you know, a picture of your dog. But even those things that you don't realize that you do, it's gonna sort of represent your style anyway. So, do you see this box? If you're stuck in this little box, not exploring the world, not trying new things, feeling like you have to stick to one thing and you can't do anything else, if you are in this box, you're welcome. The box is gone. I destroyed it. It is no longer there. You've been evicted, and now it's your turn to go try a whole bunch of different things. There you go. And those, everybody, are my 3 realizations, or whatever you want to call them, that I have discovered while creating art, going through roadblocks, figuring out what does and doesn't work, burning out, and then getting back to feeling inspired again. Like, these are just things that just over time I'll be like sitting there one day and I'll just like, it'll hit me like, oh, that's that thing that's been bothering me, or that's what's been holding me back, or this is the problem with, you know, the creative world at this time. And I really hope that something helped you, something inspired you. Again, I think my main goal, and like something that I just feel really strongly about, is that people don't quit. People don't stop because making art, making music, writing, creating anything, just anything that's creative. I just so badly don't want people to quit, because I've quit so many times because I didn't feel like I was good enough. I compared constantly to other creative people or artists, and I just thought like, oh, mine's not as good as theirs, or like, I don't know what I'm doing and they know everything, and then I would just kind of quit, or I didn't want to continue. And I just know how awful that feels and how like just really disheartening it is, and I just don't want other people to experience that or feel like they're alone in that. I don't know, I just want people to keep going, keep making art, keep being creative, all of that. So hopefully something resonated with you, something will kind of like stick in the back of your mind, and next time you're feeling like defeated or deflated or whatever, you can kind of remember like, oh yeah, she said that one thing, and yeah, all right, so I don't feel so alone, or like, I'm not gonna let that stop me, you know. Also, don't forget, of course, like this video, subscribe to my channel, and please let me know if you like this format, if you like this style that I'm trying out. I just thought it would be really fun. And but if it really, really bothered you and got on your nerves, like having this little thing down in the corner of, you know, me talking, then, you know, we don't have to do that anymore. I just thought I would try this out and it would be something fun to do. And yeah. Oh, also don't forget, please let me know what Switch games you would suggest. And it would especially be great if the games were couch co-op. So something that all we need is one Switch, one copy of the game, but can split screen it at the same time. That'd be awesome. Thanks. Appreciate ya. Love ya so much. And I will see you guys in the next video, whether it's a vlog, a sit down and chat, a paint and chat. Yeah. All right, bye. I just hit my face. I heard a hawk in the distance. Oh. Okay. Love ya.